Hey, how are you?
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Good, thank you. This is Madeline quickly. Madeline, this is Tegan.
Hi. Nice to meet you too.
So how's your week been so far?
Oh, it's been good. Pretty busy.
That's good. I can say the same. Classes are pretty crazy right now, but that's okay. I like being busy, so. Okay, so to get started, we have some questions lined up for you, but feel free to ask us any questions as well throughout. So before we get into discussing about your time at Brock, I really want to touch upon what you're currently doing. So first, congratulations on building your business. That's super incredible. We love to see it. And I know you brought up that there were some unfortunate things thrown at you, but we know that won't stop you and you're going to start, I think you said in January 2021, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you mind explaining how this business came about and what your goals are for your organization?
Yeah. So first of all, I'll kind of explain what my business is. So I own Spectrum Gymnastics. It's a fully inclusive gymnastics gym with the focus on individuals with special needs. We definitely cater to all ages and abilities, making sure that our programs are open and inclusive to everyone. So that's kind of the business in a nutshell. Um, Honestly, it's always been my dream since I was a little girl to open up a gymnastics gym. I never really fully developed the special needs portion or the inclusiveness until like later on in university. But it's always been my goal to open a gym.
Wow. Must be an incredible feeling that it's all coming together and it's all happening.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Like thinking that I've just like dreamed of this my whole life and just kind of hoped it would happen, but now for it like to actually happen,
hmm
it's huge.
That's amazing, especially since, it's been a dream of yours to do this and finally it's, starting to come into reality. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it's awesome.
Amazing. The one part of SHEMA is that we always ensure to demonstrate the importance of diversity and inclusion. So could you maybe touch a little bit about how you ensure that diversity and inclusion is reflected as a whole throughout the organization, or even specifically with your participants you're mentioning and representation and so forth?
Yeah, so the importance in like people knowing that I'm inclusive, I make sure that all of my programs cater to each individual. So you can join any of my programs. Um, if you're an individual with special needs, I have like three different streams, I call it, that you can take. You can go right into any class you choose. If you would like to have a support worker or a parent with you, you're more than welcome to do that. You can choose to do one-on-one classes, so we can do private, just myself and the individual, or you can also choose to do our sensory-friendly gymnastics. So that's when nobody else is in the gym, but our sensory class, lights can be dimmed. We can ensure that all of our sensory overloads are eliminated to our best ability.
That's great
Wow,
to
that's really nice.
cater for, each individual's needs and make sure that they feel welcome and, in a safe space to participate in gymnastics.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely like just meeting with families and their children and getting to know what works best for them and ensuring that they know that we can cater to them. We can develop a whole new program if we need to, but we want to make sure that families and individuals with special needs know that we offer that.
Yeah, I really like that. It's not more so of delegating, oh, this is how it's going to go, but you're going to come into the organization feeling welcomed and safe. And we have all these options, or we can even create new options for you so that they enjoy their time.
Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for sharing about your new organization. If Shima can do anything to help, please let us know. We would love to do that. Um, okay, so now looking at your time at Brock University, you mentioned that you loved the Rec and Leisure program. So could you just elaborate a little bit on your time within this program?
Yeah. So I really loved rec because it was very community oriented. Like my passion is children and youth in sports. So through rec, I was really able to learn about children specifically. I was able to have a community placement in a gymnastics gym, which was amazing because it's obviously what I love to do. So I really loved rec because it did teach you all about community. Like we learned about how all of the rec centers work in each different municipality, which has now helped me in my career, being able to connect with my own municipality, understand how their recreation programs run, so that I can kind of work alongside them. So for me, rec was huge in like with my interest with children and sports.
Perfect. That sounds really nice. I love the community feeling and everyone just feeling so valued and included. So thank you for sharing that as well.
Absolutely. Like that's definitely an important factor of what you're doing now with your own business. So that's great that you were able to learn that and have that placement in a gym. That's really super
Yeah.
cool. Amazing. So also to go off of that, do you mind explaining how you furthered your education at Niagara College and how that's kind of also been beneficial to you today?
Yeah, so in my second year of university, I discovered that there was a postgraduate program at Niagara College for autism and behavioral science. And so that's when I kind of made my shift in my education. I mean, I had a minor in child and youth, so I was already getting a little bit of that, but I really wanted to focus on the special needs aspect. So I had decided to switch my degree to just a 3 year bachelor's degree, so that I could spend my fourth year of schooling doing a postgraduate at Niagara College. And this postgraduate was like the most amazing program. We got to have placements. It was just a 1 year program, but we had placements both terms. I was actually able to have a placement in a program called the Children's Autism Program. And this program is basically when a school system has given up on a child with autism and they've kind of used all their resources and aren't sure what to do anymore, then this child gets sent to CAP, the Children's Autism Program, which is a movement program. So we teach the kids how to regulate their emotions and behaviors through movement. And while I was there, I actually implemented a gymnastics program for them, since it kind of co-aligned with their movement that they were running already. And so that program still uses my gymnastics program now, even though I'm graduated.
Wow, that's
Wow.
amazing that you're able to implement that and with your gymnastics background and kind of help them through that program. And that's great to see that they're still doing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be an amazing feeling. And all of that sounds actually really interesting. I'm probably going to look up more information on that afterwards, but that sounds really incredible. Okay, so to go more into detail, I know you briefly explained that you were originally enrolled in sport management program, but had switched to the rec and leisure because you felt that you didn't belong in the sport management program. So if you're comfortable to do so, could you elaborate on why you felt that you didn't belong?
Um, well, first, I can't judge the program as a whole as I was not a part of it. But I found that in first year, your 2, 3 sport management classes were very focused on professional sport. And I found that everybody around me kind of had the same goal of working in professional sport in some aspect. And it kind of like made me take a step back and go, wow, like professional sport is never something I've been interested in. And everybody around me wants to do this. And I'm finding that that's a lot of what the discussion is in our classes, a lot of the content. And again, this was only my first year, so I don't know what classes are like beyond that. But that's when it kind of made me realize, like, you know what? I don't think this program is what I thought it was going to be. I'm really a lot more interested in kids. I don't like competitive, like, I'm all about recreational. So that was the first kind of like sense of not belonging. And then Dr. Spence, I'm not sure if she's still a professor, but she was actually my TA for one of my seminars, which I was like beyond thankful to have her. Um, Obviously, sport management is like a very male dominated program. And I found that like the boys in my seminar would just talk about professional sport and talk over each other, and it was always just like arguments about things, and I never had the chance to share my opinion. So Dr. Spence would always make sure to look over at me and go, Tegan, what do you think? And like ensure that all of the boys stopped and listened to what I had to say. And a lot of the time I did not agree with what
Mm-hmm.
their opinions were. So I was really thankful to have her for that, because it still allowed me to participate in my education, without like feeling so little in that room. Um, but then, of course, for my other classes, she was not my TA. So that's where I kind of struggled, where I felt like I was never given the opportunity to share my opinion because I wasn't brave enough at the time to speak over top of others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that you felt that way, but you aren't alone. There has been people before having those same feelings. Even myself with group projects, seminars, I would say about 90% of the time I'm the only girl in the program or in the whichever area I'm in. And sometimes if I'm lucky, I'll have, that second woman as well.
Yeah.
But it does take a little bit of a toll on you because you don't want to seem confrontational by speaking up, which is not how it is at all. But sometimes that's just how you feel. And it's true, people will talk over each other, and there is a lot of focus on professional sports, but I've noticed actually this year in my third year that we've talked a lot about nonprofit organizations and more of things relating to community, which I'm really happy about because my profession has always been towards professional. I wasn't aware about different opportunities, so that I'm really thankful for that. But I'm glad that you had Dr. Smith to help you in the seminar. Sometimes we just need that extra person to feel more welcomed and valued, even if the program didn't end up being for you. Just having that person to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. She was just like a huge help. And it made me feel a lot more comfortable going to seminar, knowing that I would be able to share my opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, you do need sometimes a little bit of that push. And I know also for me, I don't know if anyone else is feeling this way, but it was hard for me my first semester going to seminars and having the courage to just speak up. Doesn't matter if it was, I was one of the only two girls in my seminar of 20 people, but it's just hard to speak up. And so I'm in my second year now. So last year, my first year, I kind of felt the same way. A lot of it was focused on pro sports. And I do love sports. I love to watch sports. I love to play sports. But I didn't know lots of the little nitty gritties about the statistics and the this and who plays this and who got drafted here and when. And I feel like that's what a lot of the conversation was. And so I can absolutely feel you on that feeling of a little bit of left out, not knowing what to say and when. So I can absolutely relate to that. But already in my second year, I'm feeling that the courses are definitely shifting towards a little bit away from pro sport and a lot more diversity. So I personally am happy to see that. Um, but so to kind of go off of what you were just saying, could you maybe mention a little bit about the big differences between the rec and leisure program and the sport management program that kind of just really exemplified vastly different environments where you ended up feeling a little bit more welcomed and valued in the recreation and leisure program?
Definitely. So with the rec and leisure program, I think definitely the content was just more suited for what I wanted to do with my life. So like immediately in classes, like I connected with the content. I was already a very community oriented person. And I found that, of course, all of my like students with me, they were all very community oriented as well. We had all played sports. We all through high school, competitive sports, all of that, but we had our experience with competitive, and like we enjoyed our recreational experiences more. Um, so that was definitely a huge difference for me. Another, so I had a really good friend in sport management. She was a year ahead of me. So she was kind of my mentor in the beginning. And she knew what second year was like because she was a year ahead. So she was always kind of pushing me to stick with it. And like, I promise, like, the classes are going to change. It's not all about professional sport, because she was like living in it. So she knew that things were changing. Um, and so I was very grateful to have her there to guide me, but I still knew that like the courses weren't going to change to what I needed. Like, I had a few friends who were in rec, and I had heard about their classes, and it just definitely seemed like a lot more suited towards me. And then, of course, once being in rec, the placements that I had, um, like, rec felt more like a college program. Um, like, we had a leadership class where we went to a camp in Aurelia, and we spent the weekend there as a class, and we ran like icebreakers and leadership games, and it was just like all about like having fun. I had another placement for a therapeutic recreation class in a nursing home, a retirement home. And so we actually got to be paired with two residents, and we would meet with the residents every week, and we just kind of chat about their lives and get to know them. And then our big project at the end of the semester was to create a book about their life and to present it to them. So I just found that like I knew what type of placements I was going to have, what the classes were going to be like, and I knew it was just going to be like more suited towards what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. It sounds really hands-on. That sounds really
Yeah.
nice and like a lot of fun to bring everyone together. And sometimes it's okay to go into a program and feel like this isn't for you. I've talked to someone one time and they're like, sometimes people change their majors 3 times because I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know what program to choose. And they're like, sometimes people change their programs like 3 times, like don't feel forced and all of that. So I'm super glad that you found the Rec and Leisure program and it fit well with what your needs were and wants. All right. So on to the next question. So the way you feel and your experiences matters. And just to mention that you're not the only one feeling this way, as I spoke about before. So just to talk about Shima a little bit, we're really trying to change this by fostering and empowering an inclusive community within the sport management program. So reflecting on your experiences and understanding that change is coming slowly but surely, um, what is something that you would like to see from Shima?
Honestly, I'm already very impressed that this even exists. When I met with a few people on Alumni Day, I had said, like, wow, if something like this existed in my first year, like, maybe I wouldn't have changed programs. Like, who knows what path I would have taken on life if I had kind of stuck it out in sport management. So I'm already really impressed that, like, it exists. Um, it's hard to say like what I would like to see from Shima because I'm not in university and I'm not there to see everything that's going on, and especially because it's much different with a lot of online classes now. You're not getting as much interaction at the university, but I'd really just like to see more awareness about it. Like, when I was in my first year, it wasn't really something we talked about it being a male dominated program and only a few girls being in the program. Like, it just wasn't a conversation that was had. So it kind of made you feel like you were alone. Like there was nobody else who felt the same way you did, which is kind of why I switched programs too. So it's really just nice to have a group of individuals that are there to advocate, and make sure that people know that they're not alone and that there's resources that they can access to help them.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the resource part of it when you were in sport management program, they're just like how Shima wasn't there, that's definitely a good resource that you could have been a part of and felt more included. And Shima really is trying to make sure that everyone knows that their voices are heard and they're not being ignored and we are listening and that they matter. So we are working on that slowly. Change doesn't happen overnight, but we've had some incredible support from faculty and students, and we are hoping to expand. We needed a foundation, so we're starting with Brock, and we are moving out past the sport management program. But we're not trying to change the sport management program, but more enhance it and become more diverse and inclusive with students, but also the representation and the marketing that we put out there too. Like what are our targets? Are we only going towards a certain area, or are we trying to welcome everybody? So we are making these changes. So we appreciate your feedback, and more is coming. I'll just say that.
Absolutely. And I love how you touched upon awareness. And because honestly, that's the start. You have to bring awareness to the fact that, yes, it is mostly a male dominated program. And yes, we don't see a lot of diversity. And that's, again, like that's just the first touch point. We have to bring awareness to what's happening. And just as long as people know, and that's when people start to really make an impact and start to take action.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Hmm. So again, looking back on your time at Brock and maybe some of those first year feelings of exclusion in the program and in seminar, is there any advice that you would like to give to women currently in the program or those applying to be in the SPMA program?
The advice I would give is to talk about it. I really only had one like close girlfriend in SPMA, and the rest of my friends were, of course, all guys. Um, and so I never really felt comfortable talking about it openly, how I felt, because I didn't feel that they would be able to connect. Like they wouldn't understand what I was going through. So I think my advice would be if you're feeling this way, definitely talk to people about it, talk to your family, your friends. It doesn't have to be people in sport management. And then, of course, access everything that Shima offers because that's what they're all about and they're there to support you.
Yeah, thank you for the support there. It's true though. A lot of people don't want to speak about it because they don't feel like they should, or maybe they don't feel like it's important enough, but it is. It completely is. And even for myself, I didn't even know I was feeling this way, because for me, throughout high school, my whole life played sports, and it's just always been something in my life that I'm like, yeah, I'll play you one on one because you think I can't play basketball. Like it's just like those constant battles, even just about basketball in general, any sports in general. Like I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's just how it goes. Or like when I went into the program, I didn't see many women, and I'm just, to me that was normal because that's what I've been through my whole life. And then when I in my third year, I started to meet more women in this program, and then I found out about Shima, and I'm like, you know what I went through should not be normalized. Like it shouldn't. Like that's an issue. And I didn't put that into perspective until I started seeing more things come up as the years went on. So it's true. Everyone should feel comfortable to speak up, and that's what we're trying to help with too.
Yeah. And I mean, I was definitely prepared for it to be a male dominated program. Um, I had been researching the program since I was in grade 10 and kind of following it. So I was definitely prepared and knowing that it was going to be almost all guys, but I guess I didn't um, realize how I would feel in that situation. Um, I grew up in a really small town. Um, all the guys I were around in my high school, like we were all friends. They were all friendly, um, and like of course they talked about professional sport, but just kind of in between them. I never felt the pressure to know the
Yeah.
statistics and know what's going on. So I was definitely prepared for what I was walking into, but at the same time, not as prepared as I thought I needed to be, I guess.
Hmm. For sure.
Yeah, definitely. It is hard. And absolutely, like you do know going into the program that it is most likely going to be quite male dominated. I know, in grade 12, when everyone asks you, what are you doing next year? And, I'm so excited to tell them I'm going to Brock for sport management. And it's always that shock of, you're going to that program? Like, there's a lot of guys in that industry and it's this, and just being very surprised. And as Brooklyn was saying, like, it shouldn't be normalized. Like, it shouldn't be a surprise that I want to do this. Like, I've been in sport my whole life and I love this, and, that's something I want to do. So just that fact of it being normalized. And so That's what Shima's trying to just break that normalization of, that women can't be in sport leadership positions.
Yeah. And I think even just getting like more women in sport um, to be involved with the program. Like I remember in my first year, um, we had a day where professionals in the industry came in and like told us about their experiences, their jobs, like what they do. And every panel, like I think we maybe had like 20 people come in, and there might have been one or two girls that were representing that. And I understand that like it is male dominated, but that doesn't mean that there aren't women out there working in sport. So I had wished that the program of sport management had worked harder to find women in sport. Like, I don't need a woman in sport who works for the Toronto Maple Leafs or some big thing. Like, they can be somebody who just works in community sports or does something on a smaller scale. Like, I don't think that we need that big representation from all of the professional sports and all of the big jobs. I think we also need to hear stories from like other avenues. That's how we learn that there's other streams of sport to go into than just professional sport.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. Like there's so much out there that we don't even know because we're only, or a lot of the times we're pushed of that pro sport avenue and that's where you want to go kind of thing. But it's great to be able to speak to inspiring women such as yourself, who is soon to be opening a gym for children with special needs. And again, like that's something that I would love to have seen maybe, at Alumni Day or, in classes just to hear about the different avenues and then seeing a woman do that as well. And, maybe I could do that one day.
Yeah, it just makes you realize, like, yeah, put yourself in their shoes and think, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, it's just nice to have the representation there for those people that need it.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm still learning about all new positions in the sport industry, whether from the community area to pro sport. Like, there's just so much in between that a lot of people don't realize. So, yeah, exactly. We can have women come to symposiums, but are the areas that they're working in, are are they diverse, or are they in one section of the sport industry? Like we don't want everyone to feel like they have to go to pro sports. Like that's the only option for you. Um, but I also wanted to mention that, change is happening, but you should know that you are a part of this change. You are truly inspiring to even myself, and I'm sure Madeline and other people that will watch this interview to, pursue their goals and that they do have a place in the sport industry. Awesome. Okay. So we really appreciate you explaining your story, and we truly are trying to make a change, as I mentioned, and being able to chat with you has helped Shima really understand more deeply the feelings that not only you and other people are facing. This will truly help us enhance the sport management program. So we thank you again for coming on and chatting with us. And also, please let us know if Shima can do anything for you in your new organization. We support you, and we're super excited for it to start.
Awesome. Well, thank you for helping build this platform and making sure that the word gets out there. And I just love that it's all about being inclusive and diverse.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. And just before I end it, um, we asked you so many questions, but I don't want to leave without asking you, did you have any questions for us?
I don't think so. I'm just excited to like follow this group and see where it goes.
Awesome. All right.
Great. Well, we appreciate your support for us, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day and coming on this call. It was great to just hear about your experiences and what you're doing right now.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks. Bye.